Next up, we have another colleague of mine from business school. We have Shivaram Gopal. He's a professor and has done just an extraordinary amount of research in a variety of areas around everything from partnerships to philanthropy, and certainly has done a lot of work in healthcare. And again, I think Shiv, would love to hear about your take around Haven. Particularly, you and I had a very animated conversation around Haven and what happened to Haven. These three industry giants, Amazon, certainly J.P. Morgan, ironically, and Berkshire Hathaway, get together to start a major company 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, and just announced last month that that's not going to be pursued any further. What's your take on this, and how does this type of activity, what does this signal for 2021? And kind of what you've read about from the J.P. Morgan healthcare conferences that took place.
Thank you, Stan, for having me. I know I have exactly 4 minutes to crack this deeply difficult question, but I'll try. So my read on Haven was that if 3 of the best-known names, arguably in corporate America, if they couldn't crack healthcare, I'm a bit depressed. Who can? It's not J.P. Morgan, Amazon, and Berkshire. So let me link this back to a couple of papers I've just completed, and hopefully we can come back and close the loop here. So something as simple as how much money does a healthcare company make? It turns out is a deeply complicated question. Partly because of the way R&D is handled in the financial statements, the whole issue of investment in intangibles is kind of messy. So if you sort those things out and you try to understand what is the net return, operating return a company makes, and we've done this, and I'm happy to share links to these papers. Healthcare comes out on top over the last 3 decades, systematically. Healthcare is the industry that makes the highest operating return in terms of profits, and this is in a sample that includes everything you can think of. It includes technology. So all this excitement about how technology companies are making supernormal profits, as claimed by the House and the committee. It's interesting. They've kind of taken off. The superstars have taken off in the last 4 or 5 years. The FANGs. But healthcare consistently shows up as an industry which makes a lot of money, which as an economist is kind of worrisome, because this should happen either because the risk is very high in that industry and you're getting compensated for that risk, and or there are entry barriers. Which brings me to the second piece of research that I want to share with the group here is, I've often wondered what's the return to a dollar of lobbying. So, and I wanted to contrast that to a return to a dollar of R&D. And we ran some numbers, and I was just blown away. We had to check the code several times to make sure that I'm not, getting some gobbledygook. So it turns out that the return to lobbying is like 10x the return to R&D. So if I invest $1 of R&D, I get something like $3 in future earnings over the next 3 years. The returns to $1 of lobbying spend are roughly $36. So sometimes it makes me wonder pejoratively, why bother with R&D? All we should do is go lobby Congress. And this is going to become a deeper problem as we enter a world where we have huge deficits and the federal government, spending trillions. And how does the federal government know who to give money to? So to make this more real, we also looked at the COVID-19 stimulus giveaways, and so there, if you look carefully, the return is something like $20 for every dollar of investment made to lobby lawmakers. So hold on, what happened here? Did I get kicked out or something? Or can you still hear me, Stan?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, for some reason I can't see anyone, but that's okay. So just to summarize in the time I have here, this is an industry that's made supernormal returns for at least 3 decades, if not longer. My suspicion is that it's a closed ecosystem. Outsiders have a hard time disrupting it, But if you look at the history of corporate America, you need the influence of outsiders. I mean, we often vilify shareholder activists, but shareholder activists are important to make sure that capital allocation happens well and so on. This is somehow an industry that's immune to that. So I'm not surprised, bottom line, to kind of close out the conversation, that Haven failed. And it's a bit worrisome to me. I mean, you guys are insiders. You probably understand the nuances and the institutional details much better. I approach this from the point of view of an outsider and wonder what is going to change this industry. I'm sure you've pondered about this quite a bit.
Almost 20 times a day. So no, but thank you very much. Great to hear from you.